Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala khatim al-anbiya ashraf al-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Tayyib, today's dars is one of those durus that if you miss it, you will not realize, but you will miss something that invalidates your salah. Because today we discuss an issue that most people don't understand. But they don't realize until they're in the situation where they need it, and then they don't know. Because when we talk about like going into ruku' and getting up from ruku', most people realize those ahkam. How do you go into ruku'? How do you get up from ruku'? Even if they don't understand the depth of it or the details of it, they'll understand the basics of it. But this is an issue today about sabaq al-imam, and when you go ahead of the imam. Now, all of us know that you shouldn't go ahead of the imam. You guys, mashallah. But the issue gets to be, what if you do? Right? And you may wonder like, well, that would never happen, right? Because I would never do that. But it happened, and I'll give you a real life example. And this is something that happened to me personally. I was in a masjid in San Diego, I'm not going to mention the name of the masjid, and a new community had moved into the area. Somebody who was we weren't used to the same community, not going to mention the community. And one of the habits they had was when they came for salah, they said takbir to join the salah loud, like louder than they should. Right? Because remember earlier in these durus in Zād, we talked about the 5 levels of audible recitation or so on in salah, right? One of them, which is the imam, he says it's so loud the people hear it. And then the person behind the imam should recite, but not so loud, right? So if you come to the salah and the people are praying, you should say takbir al-ihram. This is a rukn, you must, right? But you say it so you hear it, not others, right? You don't come here and say Allahu Akbar, right? Because you're joining the salah. The people that are praying with khushu' and things, when they hear that so loud, they will assume it's the imam. And that's what happened. I was in a masjid, and somebody came to join the salah, and they said loud, Allahu Akbar. Now I was close to him, so I could hear where it was coming from, but other people, they assumed it was a silent salah, right? So they assumed it was the imam, so they went into ruku'. Now the imam is still reciting al-Fatiha. So this is not something that, when would this ever happen? It does happen. Tayyib, now, what should those people do? What do you guys think? Right? Now think about this, right? Should they come back? Should they wait for the imam? What if they are still in ruku' because they don't know? And the imam says, Allahu Akbar. Right? Because those people didn't realize it's a silent salah. So when the imam finished his qira'at, he said, Allahu Akbar. Though some of them got up back into raf'a ba'd al-ruku'. But then some of them realized he didn't say Sami Allahu liman hamida. Right? So now in this situation, what should you do and what effect does it have on your salah? This will be the dars today, the whole dars today. But this knowledge is fardul ayn upon every one of us, me and you. Why? Because it has to do with sihat al-salah, the correctness of your salah. And here I can guarantee you, most people guess at this. They don't know. Right? People that have supposedly they're knowledgeable and so on, they don't know. Tayyib. So we'll begin from the matan. Man raka'a or sajada qabla imamihi. Whoever performed ruku' or sujood before his imam, فَعَلَيْهِ أَنْ يَرْفَعَ. As the doctor said, upon them is to go back. طيب. لِيَأْتِ until يَأْتِ بِهِ بَعْدَهُ. Until they come back after the imam. But now, and I'm going to really focus today on Surah Al-Mas'ala and explaining the Mas'ala. Because now the matan here is cryptic. It's a little, because these are mutun, and this is why like brothers are always like, what can I get an English Zād al Mustaqni? You could, but you're not going to understand it. Can I get an English Nukhbat al-Fikr? You can get it, but you're not going to understand. They're all istilahat, right? You can think you understand it, but you don't. Because here there are different case scenarios. The shuruh put it, and now this is the amazing thing, right? The shuruh, I will explain how they explain it first in Arabic, and I guarantee you nobody understands it. And then we'll explain it. Right? They said, فيها ثلاث حالات, يعني there are three conditions here. سبق إلى الركوع وبالركوع أو إلى الركن وبالركن وبركنتين. What does that mean? He said there are three conditions. One is that you go ahead of the Imam إلى الركوع or إلى الركن, يعني to the ركوع or to the ركن, أو بركن or with the ركن, أو بركنتين or with two of the arkan. But what does that mean? This is the sharh and we don't understand it. This is why I emphasize on Tullab Ilm to get teachers. And those teachers that study the matan with a qualified teacher, who study the matan with a qualified teacher, up to the muallif, the one who wrote the matan. Because somebody who picks up the book does not understand it. They don't understand the linguistics of it, let alone the masala. Tayyib. Now, the muallif continues, وَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ عَمْدًا بَطَلَتْ. And if they do not knowingly, the salah is batil. But what does that mean? So now we're going to break into three case scenarios. I mean, dalil, you know the hadith of Rasulullah forbid going in front of the Imam and the wa'adan and that. So this is obviously clear. I'm not going to go too deep into the adillah are clear. But now how to implement this. And this is what this dars is focused towards, right? So one is ila rukn. Or ila ruku'. Yani two, if we're talking about ruku' or any rukn. Ila rukn means that you went ahead of the Imam, but it's the next rukn. What does that mean? And I'm going to make sure you guys understand this masala today, inshallah. Imam is reciting Al-Fatiha, a silent salah, for example. The example that I gave, right? You went ahead of the Imam to ruku'. Now, how far are you from the Imam? One rukn and not complete, meaning you just went to the next rukn. The Imam, he will catch up to you now. So, if you did that, let's say, like the example I gave, somebody said, Allahu Akbar, you went to ruku' and you realized that you went ahead of the Imam. Now there are two case scenarios, or two or three case scenarios you can say. One is amdan. You did it on purpose. It happens. Somebody, they whatever in their mind, they went ahead. Like for example, I was in another country, I saw some people, they were just in a rush, I guess. So the Imam would still be in recitation, they'd be already going into ruku'. Like, what are you doing? No, I love the salah. Well, then pray it according to Rasulullah, don't go ahead, right? But knowingly, they went ahead. Or you have the situation where you do it unknowingly. Or you're ignorant of it. So there is knowingly, unknowingly, and ignorance. In all three of these scenarios, ila rukunin. This is the first case scenario, which is you just went one ahead. In this, all three of them, if you realize, what should you do? Go back. Don't wait for the Imam. Don't be like, okay, I'm just going to wait it out. He'll catch up to me. No. Right? When you realize it, you go back. And if you go back in this case scenario, right? Somebody said takbir, you went into ruku', you realized the Imam is not in ruku', you went back, you caught the Imam in the rukn that was before, right? Meaning the Imam is in qiyam reciting Al-Fatiha, and you were in ruku', you realized it, you came back, now you're with the Imam. Now when the Imam says Allahu Akbar, you go with him. In this case, amdan aw jahlan aw nasyan, yani whether it is on purpose or on accident or unknowingly, because you were ignorant. In all three cases, if it was ila rukn and you went back and caught the Imam, your salah is fine. What does that mean? No sujood sahu, no repeating a rak'ah, no repeating the salah. Everybody understand this case scenario? Ila rukunin, meaning Imam is in qiyam, you went into ruku', you realized it, you made a mistake, you went back up, you caught the Imam. Now when the Imam went into ruku', you followed the Imam and you continued behind the Imam, your salah is fine. Whether you did it on purpose or on accident or by forgetfulness. Tayyib. Let's say you did it and the Imam caught up with you. Tayyib. Now we get into a different case scenario, right? And let me try to translate the matan a little bit first so we can get into this. Tayyib. So whoever goes into ruku' or sujood, man rak'a or sajada, qabla al-imam, before the imam, must rise back and perform it with the imam. Tayyib. So this is what we already discussed. If amdan, the person does not until the imam catches up with him, his salah is batila. What does that mean? You are in ruku' and you realize that the imam is still in the rukn, and knowingly you did not go back, and now the imam went into ruku'. What's the hukm on your salah? Batila. You don't, no sujood sahu, no making a barakah, you have to repeat that salah. No taslim, your salah is batila. Go, step back, start the salah again behind the imam, or if it's too late, then repeat the salah. Tayyib? This is clear? I'm going to repeat it, because I want this to be clear. If you went ila rukunin, yani you just went one step ahead of the imam. Now here, you realized that you are ahead. Amdan. Now you are purposely one step ahead. And then you did not go back. You stayed in ruku' knowingly, and then the imam made ruku' as well. So he caught up with you. You knowingly did not go back to correct your mistake. Then your salah is batila. Tayyib. The second case scenario, unknowingly or ignorantly. Okay? Meaning, in the scenario I gave, people heard the takbir, they went to ruku', they didn't know they were going ahead of the imam. So they stayed in ruku', when the imam said the takbir, now they realized that they were ahead. So it was unknowingly, or maybe somebody's ignorant of it. Right? So in that case, if the imam catches you, what is the hukm on your salah? Perfectly fine. No sujood sahu, no repeating the rak'ah, your salah is not. Because you didn't know. So the imam caught up with you unknowingly, meaning you didn't know, or you were ignorant of it, your salah is fine. Everybody understand that example before I move forward? You want me to repeat it one more time, or you get good? Make sure you're good. Alright? Tayyib. Then gets the issue of if somebody gets ahead of the imam, Berukanin. What does it mean, Berukanin? Here, this is linguistics. Ila wa ba. Both huruf al-jar. Ila means the next. Berukanin meaning you're one step, one whole rukn ahead. What does that mean? The imam is standing, you went into ruku'. Now before the imam goes into ruku', you're already standing back up. I'll give you an example. The imam went into ruku', you heard the takbir, you thought he went into sujood. And this happened to some of the people that day. Meaning, some people went into ruku' when they heard takbir, the imam was still standing. When the imam said Allahu Akbar to go into ruku', they didn't think, oh, I missed the getting up. They thought the imam was saying takbir to go into, so they got up, they said Sami Allahu liman hamidah, got up and went into sujood. So now they are one full rukn ahead. Imam is in ruku', they are in sujood. Because the rukn of getting back up, that full rukn is left out. Now this is what we call Berukanin. Here now you still have different case scenarios. One is knowingly. Meaning you realized that the Imam was going into ruku' and you said, I'm just going to get ahead of the game. Right? You knowingly went one full rukn ahead. What is the hukm on your salah? Batil. Now, because you cannot catch up now. Now that you're one full rak'ah ahead, you didn't make ruku' and sujood with the Imam, you knowingly went full rukn ahead, your salah is batila. It's invalidated. Okay? Unlike the earlier example we gave. Now it gets to be unknowingly. Unknowingly, you got ahead and didn't realize it until the Imam has caught up with you. If you did it knowingly and the Imam caught up with you or didn't catch up with you, your salah is batila. Unknowingly, you went a full rukn ahead, meaning you are now a step and a half ahead, and the Imam catches up with you, now your rak'ah is batila. You see the difference? Unknowingly, okay? You went ahead, the Imam is still in qiyam, he says takbir, not knowingly, out of confusion, you got up and went into sujood, right? And you didn't, what you should do now again is come back to where the Imam is, but you didn't, and the Imam, but you did it unknowingly. Your salah is not batila, but your rak'ah is batila. Meaning here, you have to repeat the rak'ah. When the Imam finishes, you get up and make one more rak'ah. Why? Because you did not perform a rukn with the Imam, even if it was unknowingly. A full rukn. In the earlier situation, the Imam caught up with you. So khalas, you did get the rukn with the Imam, even though you did it on accident ahead. But in this situation, you went one, so when the Imam does the ruku', you and him never joined the same ruku', which is rukn. And if a rukn is invalid, that rak'ah becomes invalid. Tayyib? Understand? Next would be the third, Berukanin. Tayyib, we'll get to that. Tayyib. So let me read the translation of the matan first. The prayer is invalid if done knowingly and deliberately, we said. If he precedes the Imam by two essential elements, Berukanin, yani ruku' and getting up, and the Imam is just going into ruku'. If he's ignorant of that or forgot, then the rak'ah is invalid, but the salah is valid. He will repeat the rak'ah. Now this is not in the matan, but in the shuru'. If knowingly he went two steps ahead, the salah is invalid. He cannot fix it. Tayyib. The prayer is invalidated if one bows and rises before the bowing of the Imam and then prostrates before the Imam rises, unless one is ignorant or forgetful, in which case he makes up the rak'ah. Now we get into a third case scenario where the person moves forward two of the arkan knowingly, salah is batil for sure. Unknowingly, and realizes it but does not catch the Imam in the earlier situation. Even in this case, the rak'ah is invalidated. Meaning he will have to repeat the rak'ah. Tayyib. So, I'm going to summarize now, inshallah. Three case scenarios. إلى ركن أو بركن أو بركنتين. أو ركنين. طيب. So either a rukn, meaning you're just one step ahead, you didn't finish another step. Or Berukanin, meaning you finished that rukn, you went into the next one before the Imam joined you. Or two of the arkan. If somebody gets ahead of the Imam, whether knowingly or on accident or out of ignorance, and realizes it, what should they do? Go back. Now we're talking about the first case scenario, ila rukn. They should go back. If they join the Imam back where Imam was and then follow the Imam, whether they had gone ahead knowingly or unknowingly or out of ignorance, their salah is fine. Okay? There's no sujood sahu in this situation because you're behind the Imam. Next situation. Same first scenario, but next situation. You went ahead of the Imam, you went into ruku', he's still standing, And now what happens? He says takbir and joins you. Now, if knowingly you did not return, meaning you realized it but you did not return, and the Imam now caught you in the ruku' with you, your salah is batila. Because knowingly you did not follow the Imam. Unknowingly or out of ignorance, if that situation happened, your salah is fine. Because you didn't know until he joined you and you joined the Imam in that rukn. Clear? Next case scenario. Berukanin. You went into ruku' knowingly, and the Imam went into ruku' but you had already now gotten up. Right? When he says Allahu Akbar to go into ruku', you got up. So now you are one full rukn ahead of him. You did not make ruku' with the Imam at all. In that case, knowingly, salah is batil. Unknowingly, your rak'ah is still batil. Why? Because you did not catch the Imam in the rukn that is an obligatory aspect of the rak'ah. You saw the difference? Third scenario, you get two steps, meaning the Imam is in qiyam, you go into ruku'. Now, when he's trying to go into ruku', you get up and go into sujood. Purposely, your salah is batila. Unknowingly, on accident, if you don't return until the Imam catches up with you, then still your rak'ah is batila. You have to repeat the rak'ah. No sujood sahu here, but you have to repeat the rak'ah. Clear? I know it's a little complicated, but inshallah, go home, watch the video again. And that's the good thing about recording the durus, so we can know. Because this is a very important ahkam. They can invalidate your salah. Regularly, you should never go ahead of the Imam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he forbid this, and he gave wa'id, and the hadith is reported in Bukhari and Muslim, that Allah will turn your head like that of a donkey. And there's a lot of explanation of what that means and so on, but it's mana. Don't do it. Right? But if you run into that situation, you need to know how to remedy it. That is fard al-ain. It's an individual obligation in every Muslim. طيب. The muallif then continues. وَيَسُنُّ الْإِمَامِ, and it is sunnah for the Imam التخفيف مع الإتمام. It is sunnah for the Imam to pray light but complete. What does that mean? Meaning, for the Imam leading the salah, it is from the sunnah to make the salah shorter, then it would be a hardship on the people. And this we have many adillah, like the hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu from Sahih Muslim, and other adillah where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that sometimes I intend to prolong the salah, but I hear the crying of a child and I shorten it. So what does that mean? Let's say, mashallah, you've memorized the whole Quran. Tayyib, wake up in Qiyam al-Layl and pray and recite as much as you like. Tayyib. But don't show off and then you get, mashallah, in Dhuhr Salah and you're reading Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran and the poor people behind you, old people, women, weak people like myself are standing there now. I don't want to come for Salah anymore because like this guy, mashallah, became fitna on us. No need to flex. Right? When you're leading, keep it khafif. What does it mean khafif? You have to judge your community. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for example, in the hadith in al-Bukhari, he used to read 60 ayat. Another riwayah, 60 to 100 ayat in Fajr. Some of the Imam said rak'atayn, in the 2 rak'ah. Some of them said in single rak'ah. But what does that mean? It doesn't mean that it's sunnah that every time you should do that. Because sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam even led the fard of Fajr with mu'awwidatayn, Surah Al-Falaq and Nas, not just the sunnah, the fard. Why? To show the bandwidth we have to judge. If you're going to lead and you know the people can handle it, then to lead longer for Fajr and Isha, right, is from the Sunnah. Moderate in Dhuhr and Asr, and light in Maghrib. Okay? Very short in Maghrib. But not always. Sometimes Rasulullah used to recite a little bit longer in Maghrib as well. But this is to judge your community. But if you know that it will be a difficult thing on the people, then keep it short. But itmam, but you have to complete. It does not mean that you go Allahu Akbar, you read al-Fatiha, then you're like Ar-Rahman, Allahu Akbar. I've seen it in Taraweeh. I was praying Taraweeh in one country. This is how they will let it. Subhanallah. We finished 23 rak'ah Taraweeh in less than 20 minutes. With ruku and sujood and tashahud and all of that, right? Subhanallah. Allah musta'an. Some people, the ruku and sujood, they're like banging like chicken head, like, right? And this is wrong. Because your salah now is batila. Like some of the people from some of the firq and stuff, I don't pray behind them. Not necessarily because they're aqidah, because their salah is too fast. Like I feel like I'm going to get whiplash. What kind of salah is this? Even if you're in a rush, but there are some minimums of salah that you have to fulfill. Right? Your ruku should be calm. You're getting up from ruku. You should hardly ever go under the 3 tasbihat of ruku. Like it better be like life or death emergency if you're going to go less than that. Right? The 3 is the minimum complete. Subhana Rabbil Azim 3 times in ruku, Subhana Rabbil A'la 3 times. That's a minimum complete. If one will make your ruku valid, but that should be like an emergency case. Okay? And like to make your ruku until your body is calm, to get up from ruku until your body is calm, to make sujood until your body is calm, to get up from sujood and sitting until your body is calm, until your bones return, then to make, this is the minimum. Less than that, your salah is batila. Some people, they're like, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah. When they're making sujood, they haven't sit back yet, they just tap their front legs and then they're already back in sujood. Salah is batila. And it doesn't matter how much rush, your salah is no longer valid. Your plane could be taking off, your salah is not valid anymore. Because this is from the arkan of salah. Right? So some people, before they're even in ruku, they're already getting back up. Or before they're even getting back up, they're already going into sujood. Like their back didn't even become straight, they say, Sami Allah, Allahu Akbar. What is that? You could make 100 rak'ah, they're all invalid. What's the point? Make, for nawafil, make 2 good rak'ah, rak'atan is better. Better than to make 100 and they're all invalid. Some people like, in Ramadan, mashallah, they're like, I'm going to finish 100 rak'ah tonight. You didn't pray a single rak'ah. So it's sunnah for the imam, and we mentioned the adillah, to make it light upon the people, looking at the situation, but itmam, with making it complete. And it is from the sunnah to make the first rak'ah longer than the second. And this is the hadith of Abu Qatada radiyallahu anhu, that is reported in Bukhari and Muslim, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make the first rak'ah a little bit longer than the second. Tayyib, but this is something from the sunnah. There is jawaz if you make the second sometimes longer or the same. It's not like you did something wrong in salah, like some people, they take it to an extreme. And if a woman asks to go to the masjid, kuriha, it is disliked, man'aha, to stop her. Okay? Meaning, from the regular sunnah is that women should go to the masjid for salah. Now, there are some ahkam for that. It does not mean that a woman should go under every situation. If there is ikhtilat, mixing between men and women, then she should not go. If she's wearing perfume, she should not go. If her hijab is not right, she should not go. Because then there is tahreem. Karaha, tahreem. Tahreem takes precedence. Right? To mix between men and women is haram. So now it's better that, or she is not allowed to go. If you go to a masjid and men and women are mixing, she is not allowed to go. If she's wearing perfume, Rasulullah forbid this. He says, do not go. Right? Some women are like, well, we don't want to stink. Well, take a shower. If you don't have to stink, but wear perfume when you're with women, when you're at home with your husband, when you're with your father and brother and children. This is something, bil asaf, I have to say with a saddened heart, that Illa mashallah, except who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. Most of the ummah today has flipped this idea. When a woman is at home, she will wear nothing, nice, nothing fancy, and she will not smell nice, and she will not care about her appearance, and there's like this. And when she's going out to a place where there's non-mahram men, now she has to look nice. A'udhu billah. Right? And bil asaf, the same thing for our brothers. Sometimes our brothers, they're sitting at home and their mouth smells and things. No, you should look nice for your wife. You should look nice for your husband. This is where you should beautify yourself. But for the woman to go out, in looking in such things, and especially to the masajid or Eid Salah even, right? Sometimes in the Eid Salah, the women, and may Allah forgive us, not only is their hijab not right, but they are dressed fancier than ever before. Right? You're in Eid Salah, men are going to see you. Why? This is something we have to be careful. Even when it is permissible for her to go to the masjid, her salah at home is better. Because hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is very clear, right? So the salah on her house is still afdal. But that doesn't mean you can stop women from going to the masjid as long as it's within the bounds of Sharia. And in our ummah, again, we have two extremes. In many of our countries, there is no woman section in the masjid. Meaning all the Jum'ah khutub and even for Eid Salah, nobody lets the women go. And for durus and halaqat, the women don't get to go. So what do they get to do? They get to sit at home and watch TV and soap operas and backbite and fight and argue and this and this. And sometimes there will be a sheikh and alim and the wife will not know how to make salah correctly. Because they just leave them. And that's wrong, it's haram. It's haram because it's fard on you to educate your family. And if you are not doing it, then you need to let her go where she can learn within the bounds of Sharia. So this is one extreme where people stop women from going to the masjid. And as we mentioned, this is not correct. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that if the female slaves of Allah, the women of the Muslim ummah, they want to go to the masjid, don't stop them. Tayyib? This is from the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Don't give me Sahabi or Tabi'i's qawl above that of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Tayyib. That's one. The other extreme is where women go to the masjid while breaking the rules of Sharia. This is also not correct. Right? This is the other extreme where women go to the masjid and it's a party. And you go in and it's all mixed and they're like, oh brother, how have you been? My husband is there, he's at home, didn't want to come, but you're looking very nice today. The brother's like, you've lost weight, sister, what's going on? Right? This is haram. This is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not a social club or something. Right? You have to have adl, the justice between the two extremes are both rejected. Women should go to the masjid, they should be allowed to go to the masjid to seek knowledge. On Jum'ah, on Eid, for halaqat, for durus, yes, within the bounds of Sharia. Where they go to the masjid and come home unrecognized, like Aisha radhiyallahu anha said about the women of the Ansar, where they do not become a fitna for others, nor do they bring fitna in the community. As mashallah, our sisters here, may Allah protect them and bless them, they are, alhamdulillah, right? They should. Even in that case, if there is no sabab for her to pray at home, would be afdal for her. But if there is knowledge, something to be benefited, then she should go. But if there is haram there, then tahriman, she should not go. What if they're playing music and dancing and things like this? Of course not. Even the men shouldn't go in that situation. Everything in its situation. And we'll end here inshallah. We'll begin at the qualifications for the Imam and who is best to lead the salah in the next dars inshallah.